everybody, it's Lisa Marie here. Hi, my sweet lifers. Hope you guys are having an absolutely sweet day. Father Andrew and I are continuing our series on our faith through the Episcopal Church and the Catechism, and we're going to continue forward with the Ten Commandments. And so, I'm excited about this.
So, last time we talked about the last video we did, we talked about the Old Covenant and the covenant between God and His people, and so that the Ten Commandments kind of goes with that because if you remember, we are in this time frame. If we go back to our Bibles, we're in this time where we're in the Exodus happened. They're out of Egypt. They're the God's people who He just made a covenant with, as leading are going to this promised land. This is taking a lot longer. They're falling into they're starting to question why they left. They're bickering with one another. They're even some of them are saying, let's go back to slavery. At least we're fed there.
Right.
And then God, provided them food, provided them manna. But they still are falling off track. They still are getting away from God. They were building a golden calf that even Aaron participated in. So God gave them a new way to be one another, be with one another. And that really is what the Ten Commandments are. So He gave Noah the Ten Commandments Noah. Moses.
We're just talking about his defense.
Yeah.
We were just talking a whole lot about Noah before we started.
Moses, the Ten Commandments.
That's the one we want today.
Moses, Moses, the Ten Commandments. And the reason He gave them to them were because so they can live together in community with one another and with God.
Right.
And that's where the Ten Commandments are broken apart. So there's two parts of the Ten Commandments. Right. The first, it deals with our duty to God. And those, love God with all your heart, all your soul. Honor God. Don't have any false idols. Keep holy the Sabbath day. All that good stuff. Those keep us focused on God.
Right.
When we follow those to a T, we're not going to build a golden calf and put it on an altar because we're following God. We are going with God. Then the others were having to deal with one another because they were still a community. Right. This was a community that was trying to learn to live together. They lived together in Egypt as slaves, and now they're trying to learn to live together as this new community, making their way to the Holy Land, or the Promised Land. And once they got there, they're still going to have to figure out how to live together.
Oh boy! Let me tell you what, I've been studying that in seminary, and there's a lot of figuring it out.
Exactly.
That they had to do.
And if you've ever, we've been in school, you know what it's like trying to make our way through school with peers. Sometimes we get along great with some, sometimes we don't, sometimes we bicker, and that happened quite a bit.
Yeah.
They were bickering, and so God gave them the second part of the commandments was their duty to their neighbors, their duty to each other. And those dealt with, of course, not killing. That's one good one. Don't kill each other, don't steal. But also, keep clean hearts. Don't look at your neighbor or their wives or their stuff. Don't look at them with lust. Don't covet what they have. Appreciate what you have, because coveting leads to stealing or leads to adultery or leads to these other things that God told them not to do. Right. And again, when we're figuring that out, when we figure out how we can not look at our neighbor and say, I want that, then we're able to live more in harmony. Of course, today we still have that issue. Keeping up with the Joneses, we always have to have what everyone has, and have to one up one another, especially in some of our neighborhoods where our neighbor buys a new car. Well, darn, I got to get a new car. But if we keep that in mind, that separates us from God and our neighbor and each other, because then we have this constant back and forth instead of just living in harmony with one another. And that was what God wanted these people to do. He wanted them free from captivity so they could be free to worship Him and serve Him. Okay? But they weren't doing it because human nature. Right. We get in our own ways. Right. And so He gave them this way. Like, this is it, folks. This is how you can live. And it's simple. You shouldn't, we should be able to say, I'm not going to kill someone today. That should be a pretty easy commandment to follow. But unfortunately, as we saw, it wasn't enough for us. We still got off. We still got away. We still didn't obey, as we saw after, even after they gotten to Israel and gotten to their land.
Yeah, when God gives them the land, it literally says to them, you did not you did not work for this.
Yeah, this was a gift.
I made this happen. I've moved you into this space.
Yeah.
I've given you all this tribal inheritances. Everything is set up for you. You are living in a land of milk and honey.
Yeah.
These olive trees are producing. You didn't plant them. All of that. And even under those circumstances where you think that they would be the most grateful,
Yeah.
they're fighting. They're worshiping. They're making babies with the Canaanites and the Amalekites and the
falling into
Jebusites,
their
and they're
gods
doing
and-
all
yeah.
kinds of crazy nonsense. And my favorite part, which was just wild to read, guys, was that this is in Samuel. I think it's in Samuel. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in Samuel. The Philistines steal or confiscate the ark, which is actually the ark happens at the same time that we're building the tabernacle and Moses is getting the Ten Commandments, and his brother Aaron, and all of that's happening in the wilderness, and they're building this like mini catechism of the tabernacle and the kingdom, the throne of God, and God is in the ark, right? And so the Philistines come in and they steal it, and all this bad stuff starts happening to them. They get tumors and they get boils and same kind of famine and breakout plague that God ensued on the Egyptians to get the chosen people out to the promised land or into the wilderness to move towards the promised land. Now you've got these Philistines that steal the ark, and guess what they do? They make golden mice because they got bubonic plague, and they make golden tumors, and they stick it in there and send it back on a cart, which is again against the law on how to transport, that ark of God back over there. They're like, please just get rid of this stuff, but let's give you some extra golden
just to make sure, just to help you out.
Our God, we're going to give it to your God, and it's like you didn't get the point.
Yeah, this was not what.
Totally didn't get the point. And what's worse is that the Israelites kept the tumors and the mice, which is even worse. So it just keeps going on and on and on and on.
And this is where their sense of Babylon was. God like, okay, you're not listening here. He sent nations to take them over so they can finally, like, you want to be part of it, here you go. But so the Ten Commandments were given to us, but again, human nature gets in the way, and we can't have anything nice, and we're going to mess it up. And so God needed to send us another way.
Step in.
Yes, step in. It's like, okay, that wasn't enough for you. Let's simple it up even more and give you a real way that we can get it.
Right. So, well, I hope that you guys have found some value in that. If you did, do us a favor, like and share. Don't forget to ring the bell. We'll see you next time on another Sweet Life in Christ. Take care.